That music can only mean one thing. And that is, it's time for Bridging Civil Tension. Today, H2N. Is it anti-Semitic? Question mark, ... Of course, Bridging Civil Tension. We got the man. He is a best-selling author. He owns a clothing line. He does a lot of mentoring. He also just does a lot of good stuff, coaching, training, and is always got his ear to the ground for what's happening out there in amongst the Americas. His name's Phil Wallace, and for this show, he's going to play the African-American part.
Sweet. Dibs.
All right, fair enough.
Dibs.
I'm Kent. I am the one of the founders here at DDOE Enterprises, the mother company of 216 The Net, and I will be playing the white Anglo-American part of this show.
It's that H for me. It gets me every time.
Yes, white. Cool whip. And of course, Bridging Civil Tension, we thoroughly believe, Phil and I, this is just the way our relationship is that we feel that it's better to build a bridge, have a discussion, meet in the middle, talk about it, and if I don't like what Phil's saying, I'm going to push him off the bridge.
There we go.
No, what I mean to say is we'll go our separate ways, but leave the bridge there. I mean, let's have a civil conversation about it. And unfortunately, here in the Americas, we don't like to have those civil conversations. What we like to do is get mad and yell at each other and then call each other names and say, you're stupid and whatever. So that's not what we do here. That's not what this is all about. But right now, what is happening in the world is there's, first of all, a quick shout out to our good friends over at Mobile Accounting for helping us out and putting some money behind this show, which is great. So Eric Mason, thanks. You'll see it pop up here behind me if you're watching. If not, like, share, subscribe, all the good things. And I got to tell you, Phil, the other night I was able to sit and watch basketball, discuss basketball with one of our brothers, Andrew Hogel.
Nice.
And for all y'all, Andrew is a hardcore brother of ours. We absolutely love him. And he's fighting right now. He needs a kidney transplant. And if you know of anybody who has a kidney that would love to save just a solid human being's life and help, reach out to Phil or I here, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. Because this is a dad. This is just a boyfriend that just is an incredible human being that gives so much that it hurts to watch what he's going through as a friend. But anything we can do, I told him we're here. So I mean, this guy's going through dialysis 3 times a week. That takes a lot out of a person. Takes a lot out of a person.
You got this, bro. Keep fighting.
That's it. All right. Now, H2N, for those of you who don't know, that's not like hydrogen 2 parts nitrogen. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. H2N is a movie that is out on the Amazon Prime, has been since 2018.
Right.
So it's not a new movie. This is one that's basically 4 years old, has been out there and supported by the Amazon Prime for quite some time. And it has gained a lot of notoriety because of one said Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie, thanks for tuning in. Jump on if you can, call in, and we'd love to have you on. However, Kyrie Irving, catch us up to speed with what's going on.
So Kyrie Irving shared a post. It was a while ago, so I'm not sure why it's getting the heat today. Out
on Twitter,
right? From a shared tweet years ago. But anyway,
yeah.
So for him sharing the documentary didn't necessarily promote. I understand by sharing, you kind of put your stamp on it, but didn't say this is a great film. You should go watch this. Didn't say like, I don't like the other team or anything like that. He just shared the documentary on his page. For those of you who don't know Kyrie, Duke graduate.
Yeah.
Intellectual person, not an idiot, pretty smart guy.
Smart guy.
Now, if you're saying that he made a mistake here, I'll give you that, but he's not. Don't paint the picture that he's not intelligent. Is what I'm saying.
Correct.
He does have a lot of thoughts. He thought the world was flat, so that kind of contradicts that part. But he's always researching just for other people. He's donated hundreds of thousands of dollars, does events, does charities, gives back. So when I heard the shared documentary for hate, I was like, isn't this guy that just donated $500,000 to stop hate?
To stop hate. And now
$500,000. Having it just on his own. He told Brooklyn, whatever you guys throw in, I'll match it.
Yeah.
Like prior to.
Also paid for most of the salaries for the WNBA players when they were through 2020 when their season was shortened. Or whatever as well.
Donated another $300,000 to Feeding America, partnered with the City Harvest to ensure 250,000 meals were distributed to New Yorkers, partnered with Nike to donate 17 pallets of food and masks to Standing Rock Sioux, to the Sioux tribe. So if you don't like other races, why would you donate to the Sioux tribe? Anyway, committed $1.5 to help pay WNBA players, like you said, paid off college tuition students for 9 HBCU students. So it's not a bad person.
But none of that got
half the publicity.
And
so that's where we've had conversations in the past that these athletes get this money and don't do that for the communities. They do often.
Several, right? Just a quick shout out, SG3 Sale. How are you? Good morning, brother. Glad to have you with us. Of course, you can catch Sale on the Reject Rundown here on Sunday evenings. And again, he's been a guest host. He and Anthony came in and produced. Let me tell you something, brother. Right there, got it. Boom. Let me tell you. Oh yeah, right. Another great show here, second, fourth Tuesdays. Yes, and Oliver.
So that's Kadria.
What's happening?
Yeah, she's good people. He challenged.
Okay, so Oliver says that he challenged a narrative, and they don't like that.
Right. So
so what was the tweet?
So all he did was tweet the documentary. Didn't say anything good, bad, indifferent. Didn't condemn another team or anything like that. Just share the documentary because the documentary focuses on, for those who have not seen it. One, I'd probably watch it first before having an opinion on Kyrie. It's a 3.5 documentary that talks about how basically the original Hebrews/Jews were blacks. It shows how their migration and how their genotype has shown up for Native America, South America, Asia, India, other parts of the world, even Ireland. So there's Africans with orange hair. It actually goes into the pygmies is how they got the idea for leprechauns. But it goes into, just basically the history.
Always after me, Lucky Charms.
Always after me, Lucky Charms. But it goes into that, and basically what it says is, and this is not a knock in any way, shape, or form, but as far as like what the belief is that Jews are God's chosen children. Cool.
Yes, and that's so biblically
that Jews are God's chosen. Great. But the documentary kind of points out to, well, during that time that this was happening, I lived there. Now, once the slave trade happened and we migrated away from this place, you were in the Turkish area. Migrated into what is now kind of that hub for the Jewish religion. But you're getting the credit for the time before you got there, is what the documentary says. I'm not saying that that's right, wrong. I'm just explaining the documentary, not my personal opinion.
But Charlton Heston's white.
Right. And in the documentary, what
he was
they
Moses.
Have in the documentary,
Who is Jewish?
Drake is Jewish. Yeah. Lenny Kravitz is Jewish, right? But when you hear Jewish, you don't think necessarily my complexion. You think, another complexion. So what it's kind of saying is, why did I have to cheer when we thought Jews were you?
Correct.
But it's looking like we were there during that time, that's where that anointment happened. Nothing good, bad, or different. Just saying, hey, blacks have a history outside of just slavery.
Yeah.
For that, it caught a lot of flack.
Very anti-Semitic. Very, very anti-Semitic.
So my question, and you saw me post this, is what's your definition of hate? Right? Because if I'm going to not like Kyrie because of his hate speech, is it hate speech just because he's an African American? Is this a sentiment that we can carry along all lines? What did he do that was hateful? And then let's compare that to the past 6 years at least. Not even the other 400. The past 6 years when it's been like a hotbed of comments and statements.
Yeah.
what's hateful?
Yeah.
There's a part in the beginning of the documentary, probably like 7 minutes in, where it says that maybe the numbers for the Holocaust were fabricated. Not that it didn't happen, not that the events weren't terrible, just that it may not have been 6 million. So what is hate? Are we stating that questioning a person's experience is hateful? Because I got Friday after Friday of evidence that some of y'all owe me an apology. You can check any comment section.
Emails too.
We can check the comment section of any, any on all sides.
I appreciate what you're saying. You're just playing the victim again.
No. Because this is Kyrie and them. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just saying, if we're going to watch this thing, if we're going to be refereeing, if we're going to say that's a foul, these are intentional. So what is hate? What?
All right. So to lay the groundworks, I will tell you this. I have not seen H2N yet, so I can't specifically speak to this. And here's why I haven't seen H2N yet. It's 3.5 hours.
It's 3.5 hours.
From what I've read, it's a very good. It's a good movie, right?
So it's 3.5 hours. It means that you didn't have time to watch it, which is fine.
Yeah.
So how are these people having such a strong opinion over some stuff they've
that's
never
where I'm
even
at.
seen?
That's
Because what I was told for the past couple of years is fact check. If I wanted to share anything against a different party or anything about how good or bad or whatever, I was told to fact check. Yet, when it comes to condemning, we don't have to.
So here's, and not that it wasn't 3.5 hours. I was going to watch this with my dad. Right, my dad was in town last week. My dad, and he's a retired pastor. So I wanted to watch this with him and get his take on this. Right, and it wasn't the fact that it was 3.5 hours. I can pull 3.5 hours out of a week to watch this. Right. What I had an issue with is that it was $12.99. I'm like, to me, it was like, listen, I pay you over $100 a year, Amazon Prime, and you can't give me a free movie. Right. That's me. Right. And it's not that I don't want to, because I knew we'd be talking about this. I'm just cheap. And right. So I can't say, okay, first of all, if this is getting such bad publicity about this, and it's been out there for 4 years, and we're crucifying a guy, and maybe that's a wrong word for this, right? But if we're crucifying an NBA player, by the way, shut up and keep dribbling, an NBA player, that why would I want Amazon to profit from this even more? That's my feel. Okay, that's just me, right? It's not that I don't want to understand where that's coming from, because I do, and I want to be able to talk.
Just making sure I understand what you just said. Yeah. One person's losing money for sharing it, but another person's profiting for housing it.
That is correct.
And no one's coming at the person housing the document that's been on there since 2018.
Well, I don't know if the people at Amazon Prime have to go through a 6-step process to show another movie.
Oh, we're going to get into that. But I promise you, we're going to get into his apology before he comes back to the long
Dan, always good to have you with us, brother. Dan says he posted a informational documentary in the age of information, then got ridiculed for it. Well, what the twist was that he was promoting. That was the twist, is that you're promoting anti-Semitism. Okay. Nope. He didn't say this is good and this is all bad. What he did is he just put it out there. He reposted
I'm so ready for this one.
Something that's been posted. Okay. And here's a guy who's done a ton of good, who stands on his own, thinks for himself, and all of a sudden now he's the bad guy. And his employer says, you know what? You're going to have to sit out for 5 games. We're not going to pay you for 5 games.
You know what's crazy about that? He's got to sit out for 5 games without pay. You know, there are countries where you can actually shoot black people and get a paid vacation.
What?
That when you think about it, think about when there's been these situations of officers killing black people.
Yeah.
They get paid vacation. It's not leave without pay. We're going to pay you for taking a life. But if I hit the share button, $1.9 million will leave his pocket.
Leave his pocket. Oh, and by the way, then you have to sit down with the Black Caucus. You also have to sit down with Jewish people to say you have to learn about anti-Semitism, and you have to apologize.
So they've delivered Kyrie Irving 6 items to complete before his return. So he has to apologize and condemn the movie. 500,000 donation to anti-hate causes, sensitivity training, anti-Semitic training, meet with the ADL and Jewish leaders, meet with Joe Tsai to demonstrate his understanding. So I love this because I had a friend say this to me, and I couldn't have said it more perfectly if I tried. And this is his words, not mine, so don't get mad at Phil. He said, not me, he said, never in the history of white apologies. Not from a corporation, not from a school, not from a bully who dressed in whiteface at a school, not from a politician, never in the history of white apologies.
From an email, from a coach?
Not from an email, not from Hollywood, not from any other time have you ever seen when has any politician, I say any politician, met with a black delegate
who stole millions of dollars?
We're going to get into that because Kyrie got dropped by Nike, but the person who stole millions of dollars from the poorest state in our country is still endorsed by Nike.
Well, that's because Phil, and I learned this,
and it's not race. So
that's because Phil, at my every Friday morning, I have coffee with a bunch of guys from church, and I brought this up. I said, "You guys want to tune into this because it's good." But that's because that person who stole all those millions of dollars didn't get dropped by Nike because they're no longer active in the sport. If they were active in the sport, then perhaps they would be dropped. And I giggled. Yeah, it's so stupid, right?
They're for real. They're for real,
right? So Dan says, "Isn't this what America is all about, guys? Spreading knowledge and inspiring each other." Kyrie is allowed to question anything, especially on his personal Twitter handle. Absolutely. Guess what? You know what I thought when I read Kyrie's Twitter, or the tweet, I guess they call it. Nothing. I don't follow him. I didn't know about it until this blew up. I like the NBA. I always have been a big fan. And now all of a sudden it's this. And I'm like, well, if you don't like somebody, don't follow them. Right? Guess what? Life goes on. Right? But now we have to do this. Oliver says it's an even better book. The H2N. It wasn't that much before Kyrie posted it. I don't know what that. All right, it's $10.99 now, not $12.99. Yeah, it wasn't $13 before. Yeah, you're right. I see what you're saying. Gotcha, Dan. Yeah, so the price has even gone up. And Salvador says, and many more companies promote Mr. Favory. Right. Well, yes, and they haven't dropped this guy, and these are federal. I mean, he hasn't gone to court yet, right? So you're innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. However, the emails and things we have pretty much prove Brett guilty anyway. But it hasn't gone anywhere, right? But again, Kyrie has broken zero law, has constantly showed his entire life that he's not filled with hate. He's one of the good guys. And maybe that's the problem, is he's one of the good guys. Okay. Now I'm going to ask a different question. And I want to put it this way. If it was Steph Curry, would we be having the same conversation? Right? Because Steph Curry didn't push back against the vaccine mandates in the league, because Steph Curry, you understand what I'm saying? You see where I'm going? Because Steph Curry is Steph Curry, would we be having the same conversation? And Dan says no. What do you think on that?
I think if it was Steph Curry, we still would.
Would he be suspended 5
if it was
games
Brett Favre,
and all this stuff?
If it was Aaron Rodgers, we wouldn't.
Very good point. I mean, Aaron Rodgers got up, talked about drugs and the drugs he was on and the hallucinogens and how that has enhanced his playing. But it's working good for him this year.
I'm just going on Brett because, like, okay, for instance, if I share a tweet on a documentary that just shows that I have a history of more than just slavery, if I offended someone, that doesn't come across as intentional. If I steal millions of dollars from Scott, that was intentional. if Scott was going to fund the kids of McHenry and I stole millions of dollars from that program, that's hateful. What is hate? That's why I'm asking that question first, because the first one, my apology. And he said, listen, I shared it out of context. I didn't clarify what I agreed with versus what I did not agree with. If I did hurt you, I apologize. It was never my intent. Again, when in the history of white apologies have we seen that?
Yeah.
Because, and this was a conversation yesterday, I said that was how he apologized. They needed another apology. He said, my brothers and sisters, I apologize if I hurt you. It was never my intent. So we did 2 of them.
Yes.
Contrast that with, and I won't say who, but there's a person who said some pretty mean things for a while. And if he ran again, the slogan was F your feelings 2024. Can you imagine if Kyrie came back on the court with some FYF 8s? The Kyrie FYF 8s, and he wore them F your feelings. That was his slogan moving forward. That would be hateful. This will get you elected.
Right. Now, Phil and I talked about this all week. I mean, it's been a good conversation. And I specifically said I am tired of America saying this orange guy said this. I'm tired of it. Send him away. Just stop. Right. He doesn't hold. He did. And he's no longer in that same position. Right. But I understand what you're saying. And even so, I said I want to take any national leader out of this picture because it's too easy for people to jump on that bandwagon.
It's not like
right. No, I get what you're saying. But this man, this orange colored fella, he doesn't speak for half of the nation. Very, very less and less. It's the truth. Less and less.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
If the person who has no power said, hey, we're going to have a rally in Kenosha, Wisconsin, people wouldn't show up?
I didn't say that. I said he speaks for less and less.
But what I'm saying, if he speaks for enough people that if they see me walking down the street, their FYF flag 2024 makes them flip me off, he still has an impact that affects my life.
Well, sure, but then we can always do the flip of that as well, right?
Right. But I'm saying, if we're going to say that a person who has the power to make a tweet has influence, we should hate him. I'm just asking for accountability across the road, because what I was going to get to, I said I'm excited for this part, was if sharing something that had an ounce of hate, that it just said, I don't know if the Holocaust had 6 million, or it said that we were the.
I don't know why that's hate.
I don't know why that's hate. But contrast to that, to the part that we had a discussion about, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So this tweet was taken out of context. This tweet, he didn't know that came from a known white supremacist who hated black people. This was a direct correlation to when they wanted them to shoot black people. This is fine. And if the other people,
and a lot of people's, not for everybody, not for every white person,
not for every white person, there's people who don't feel. Yeah, that's not. Sorry, my apologies. Not for everybody.
I'm not,
but enough. But what I'm saying is, there were people. The crazy part is, there are people who shared that tweet.
Of course.
So are they tied to hate? Where are their $500,000? When are they meeting with the NAACP?
That's correct. But I mean, Oliver says it great, right? The tactic is classic. If Kyrie is our strongest black voice, they will publicly shame him to make him an example. Anyone into not trying this again.
Right. To scare.
Oh, scare. Sorry. Yeah. Bad eyes. As scare anyone.
It's buck breaking. It's buck breaking. It's buck breaking.
Here's what I'll say. And let me help that. No. And here's why.
How?
Because if that's the case, Oliver, if we check history, there's an auto accident. Maybe I was hung in. I'm sorry. I committed suicide with a gunshot to my chest while I hung myself. So if that voice was to be silent, there would be as history has shown.
Right.
There would be a quick end to that individual.
To Kadria's point, though, there's 2 ways of doing it. Your way, right, where they're talking about that.
Yep.
2, buck breaking, right? We're going to make an example out of this dude. We want the rest of the people on this plantation to know they don't have the right to speak up here. If you stand out, it's buck breaking, right? Mm-hmm. They took the biggest one on the plantation. They would beat him to an inch of his life.
Yes, it was.
So everyone else on the plantation knew, do not raise your voice, do not get out of hand.
They do it in prison still today.
But
Get
what
the
we're
big guy.
saying is here, right?
Yeah.
We're going to make it so you can't say anything. We talked about this, I think it
Mhm.
was a year and a half ago. Nick Cannon said one thing out of line,
Mhm.
fired,
Gone.
gone.
Done.
Because you said, it would be like if I said Kent is partial owner of the radio station.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
Nope.
So and so, let's just say Tom is the owner of that bank.
Yeah.
You would know who that person is, and Scott owns his company.
Yeah.
Am I lying?
Nope.
They would call me crazy if you guys were Jewish.
Correct.
But
Hate.
you still own it.
Anti-Semitic.
Yeah. The Kanye hate.
Yeah.
The Nick Cannon because you said no. They own this media outlet.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with what Kanye. There's at the beginning,
right.
He as Ye does, and thanks again for listening, Ye. Appreciate you. He did make a statement that kind of went, what, just a little far there. Right. And we all can agree with that. But stating that who owns a company, that's not hate. That's just being truthful. But a lot of times we can't handle the truth.
So that's where I'm confused on, because on the documentary it shows that it was a rabbi, right? A white rabbi who says we started off with the banking industry so we can control who or does not have businesses. Then we moved into the media outlets so we can control what gets programmed. And then we're going to go into the publishing of the school books so we can control the next line of generation. If we fact check like we're supposed to do, and if that's the case, what did the documentary say that was hateful?
Right. What is
it's not saying that it's hateful. It's me saying that you own it. But if you were to write in your own words, I own this station so I can control what's input. I'm hateful for saying this is what
Lord
Kent
knows
said.
I can't control this content.
But I would be hateful for saying this is what Kent said.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm a little bit frustrated, is because it wasn't. He's got the right to do that. The very same people who are screaming hate are the very same people who will stand up and preach, hey, listen, freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. It's a free country.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Does he, though, have the right for freedom of speech?
So with that, if you're an employee, like for instance, I work for a Jewish company. So I had to have a conversation with my manager before I hopped on this show. Right. And I know that if I say the wrong thing, my job is in danger. So I understand Kyrie has a platform. So does any other president, has a responsibility for things you should or should not be able to say based off your position. I understand that. But if we're going to say, okay, you don't have freedom of speech to say hateful things, goes back to my question. Did he say a hateful thing?
He implied or submissively could imply a hateful thing.
Okay.
So here's that. When you go down that path, when you are getting paid from anything, any sponsorship in general, there's a lot of lawyers involved and there's a lot of documents involved because of what you can and cannot do.
Right.
So when I was sponsored by a very big shoe company, if I were caught in the world wearing a different brand of shoe, even to go get my mail.
That's why Jordan did what he did.
Okay. Yeah. Even to go get my mail, and I got a picture taken and put on social media, I'd have similar fines. So when you have a platform, your media platform, your marketing platform to sell things, you can affect sales very negatively, because then Nike has to go back through and say, hey, we apologize for his actions. Whether they're right or wrong, the company as a whole has to stand a certain way. Now, in this day and age right now, we've seen a lot of companies take a lot of different stances.
Correct.
Right. And in my opinion, when you have business like that, you're cutting off half of your business, because half are going to agree with you, half are not going to agree with you. At the same time, when you're a brand like Nike, you try to stay really neutral and you have views about different things. So in sharing that should have gone through the publicists and the lawyers to say, hey, I'm going to share this. They're going to say, what are your intentions? What's the PR side of things that's going to happen? And is this going to be the right image for you as a person? So the big orange man, or even the falling bike guy, it says different things all the time, and they ignore a lot of things as well. At the same time, they either gain more followers or lose more followers. At the end of the day, that's a public servant looking for votes to show sides of things. This is a professional basketball player, right? And has endorsed by a very big company. You can't be just sharing whatever you want. You don't have freedom in your position until you're retired.
Right. I mean, so Daniel said, and I was going to say this. Jaylen Brown said, "When did Nike ever care about morals or ethics? Because it's this company that does certain things, whatever." So he's like, "When has Nike ever cared about morals?" Right. But however, I question, why does Kyrie have to jump through these hoops, but a president or senator or governor doesn't have to? But let's take it off of the political side. What about the Phoenix Suns owner who was saying the N-word about his own players?
Or a football coach.
Or the football coach with
emails.
multiples and emails, right? They still work for the league.
Or
they
how
still
about, as Dan says, how about Don Imus said, those nappy-headed hoes? Was he made to go meet every black woman who owns a hair salon? Did he have to meet with the NAACP?
The women's side of the end of it. Good luck.
Right.
So I guess my question to that comes down to is what media outlet is using that to blow it up to become viral?
Well, the other thing that I want to put out there as well. The other thing I want to put out there as well is the timing of everything.
Of course, timing's everything. This has been out since 2018, correct?
This film.
No one's ever talked about this film.
Not once.
Okay, so that's
right.
But
again, right before we'll just say Tuesday. This happened before Tuesday when
the week before.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's right. It's a misdirection, right? It's total misdirection. To the point where what do we have? Is it this one? Let me see if I got this. I don't know if people can hear this.
Yeah.
Can you turn up the phone one?
It is up. Maybe it's this one. Bluetooth?
No, it's the one. It's the phone.
Yeah, it says phone.
I don't know. Can y'all hear what's being said right now? No. All right. Well, then that doesn't work.
You play in front of the microphone?
I can. So let's stop here. All right. Let me try it this way. Just let that drop. It's fine. Let's try it this way.
Video isn't going to go viral, but as a Jewish person, this is just really important to talk about. So I want to talk about this from a lens that you may not be expecting. And right off the bat, I want to start by saying that this whole situation is ultimately not even about Kyrie Irving, but about all the people using all of us as little puppets. For anyone that doesn't know, Kyrie Irving plays for the Brooklyn Nets, and he's now been suspended for 5 games without pay because of a tweet he put out amplifying a documentary that many people have been criticizing as being anti-Semitic. Promoting anti-Semitism on any level is obviously not okay. While we're on the topic of Twitter, this is happening.
Elon Musk is about to walk into a massive violation of California workers' rights law.
I'm going to connect all the dots. Just give me a minute.
Thousands of Twitter employees are about to get laid off. They all got a memo telling them to stay home. It seems to me to be a clear violation of California's Warren law.
Just to keep things clear, where did we start with this conversation? Kyrie Irving's tweet, which is keeping the news focused on this black man rather than Elon Musk, who's about to do some illegal things across the board. Stay with me. What else happened recently with a black person putting out anti-Semitism? Kanye. And now Kanye is going after everyone and anyone. This is now taking up more news time, right? Preventing us from really dealing with who? The white, wealthy, able-bodied, cisgender, straight men that continue to use all of us as pawns for their games so that they don't actually get called out for what they're doing wrong, because ultimately, Kanye was the Trojan horse for all the Botsies to continue doing what they've always been doing. Who's a part of that wealthy, white, able-bodied, cis-het man group? Elon Musk. We obviously need to be holding people within our own communities accountable for the hate that they are promoting. But we need to remain focused that the oligarchs of the world, who are mostly white, able-bodied, cis-het straight men, are using all of us as their puppets to fight with each other while they get no freaking accountability thrown at them. And I can prove this just a little bit more. This morning while I was at the gym, I was watching this sports news show, which is just always playing at the gym. And it always has a collective group of white men talking about their opinions on everything. But this morning, conveniently, it was just these 2 black people for over an hour talking about the situation with Kyrie Irving. In my opinion, what we all should be doing right now is deleting Twitter and continuing to unite different minority groups to come together to deal with the same common oppressor, the white, able-bodied, cis-het, rich man. Because right now, they're just laughing at all of us as we continue to fight with one another, and they hold majority of the power. Just a quick reminder that we are also only 4 days away from these things. Our conservatives are working to screw all of us minority groups. We can make real change if we unite and come together. Welcome to the Love Army.
All right. So, oh my God, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. All right. So, with that said, that was a white male. I don't know what cishet is. I don't understand that, but that's okay. I don't necessarily agree with everything that person said, nor does the station, but I agree with some of it,
right,
as does the station. Okay. And if you take a look at that, that's kind of what we've been talking about for the last 3 years or two and a half years, however long we've been doing the bridge.
Right.
Now. For that, this kind of what we've been saying.
We talk about the puppet master.
Yes.
Right.
As I will say, and again, I can't defend or not defend Elon Musk as a business owner. When you start up a new company, he's a smart man and has huge attorneys with him that I'm guessing that he probably understood that law and was probably trust me, right? He ain't got the money. He ain't just gonna go out there like me. Like, I mean, he's got the people behind him, right? So
if you ever go out there like that,
yeah, right.
Be addressed.
With this one,
well, so we can make a big change if we unite the Facebook user and come together. Period. Right.
So we can make real change if we unite and come together. Period.
Right.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay. And when we say if we unite, that's just good people. I don't care if you're brown, yellow, green, blue, black, whatever, right? White, it don't matter to me. That's just good people that loves the human sitting next to you, no matter what right?
Creed or race.
Yeah. And to stop buying into all this rhetoric and garbage. Right. Okay. There are, there was a comment earlier about Muhammad Ali. Hey, we're a Christian nation, and he was not Christian, Muslim, and he's supposed to go. Nope, I'm not going. He chose to sit in jail, right? So they quote unquote silenced that man too, right? So this cancel culture isn't necessarily anything new.
No, but right? Who does it cancel?
Well, maybe instead of saying that, maybe we should say who's got enough guts to stand up and be loud.
True,
right?
But what I'm saying is, like, it seems like this is okay.
Yeah.
This gets shut up.
Yeah.
This gets you locked up, or this gets you killed.
Yeah.
But this is taken out of context. We can't move like that. There's a part where Muhammad Ali talks about. He says, "Why would I go over there and fight that fight? No Viet Cong ever called me the N-word."
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Now, there's another part of the documentary where I think may have caused some issue. And the problem is a quote from Hitler, right? And so in school, we're taught that Hitler hated Jews, gays, blacks, anyone who was not blonde-haired, blue-eyed, right?
Yes.
And so I think that this is another part. So in the documentary, there's a quote. It's from Hitler. It says, "America has God's jewelry. The Americans have the jewels of God. The Americans have stolen God's precious jewels. What do you mean his precious jewels?" The soldier asked. Hitler said, "America has stolen the Jews, the jewels of God, his jewelry, the Negroes. They are the true Hebrews. What a foolish move and a direct challenge to God. And they are planning on moving these false white Jews into a state of Israel. Because the white Jews know that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep American secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they are. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they are." Now, I think that might be something that may have stirred all of this, right? Possibly.
Okay. Did he tweet that?
No. This is
just part of the film.
Yes, that's just part of the film, and it's from like a diary from Hitler and a conversation with the soldier. And so then I'm stuck because I'm like, well, I was always taught that he hated us too, right? And we didn't like this person. And I'm not saying that Hitler is not a bad person. He did horrible things and deserves to have the sentiments and feelings in his direction that he deserves, right? Not good ones.
But wait. Before you go any further, if that was in my history book, if that was in my history book at public school, is that hate? Or is that just teaching history?
Why isn't it in the public history?
Why isn't it? I don't know if it is, right? I don't. But
So remember the
it
dots.
Yeah.
They said bank, marketing, school books. Yep. You're asking why that wasn't in the school books.
Yep.
We were taught that that person was hateful, right? That person was an awful bad villain who hated everybody. And so I was having this discussion. I don't think it was Daniel, but another of my friends. And the quote was, if that's the enemy, that's the nicest thing a white person has said about black people that I've ever heard. And it came from Hitler. This horrible person, and I'm not saying that he's not a bad person, but this person who hates everybody said that black people were God's jewels.
So to me, it all goes back to context and intent, right? I don't know when that was written. If it was written at the height of the war, okay, right. But we also know that Hitler controlled the media and the media outlets of Germany at that time, right? Again, interesting. I don't see the hate, right? It's again a statement, and yes. Now I will also say, because I'm not educated enough on the geography of Africa.
Right.
But here's what I know. South Africa, predominantly white.
Now.
Predominantly white.
After invasion.
Right? So predominantly white, though. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now.
Right? But what I know about the Mediterranean area is, in my limited knowledge, is you're not going to be too white in that area. You're going to be very dark-skinned, olive-skinned, not white, unless you just happen to be traveling through
right
at that time.
Tourist, definitely tourist.
Yeah, and still today, majority not white. So it's the people who take offense to this. Now, I've got a lot of Jewish friends. And when we say Jewish friends, you automatically go white with the little cap and the curls and the beards and the things.
Fun coworkers,
right? and that's okay,
right?
That's okay, because why? That's our limited exposure,
right?
Okay, and our limited exposure throughout Christianity,
right,
is white. That's why I said Charlton Heston was not black. Right. Again, he was Moses. Can't get much more Jewish than Moses.
Right.
Okay. But he was Moses.
Right.
Okay. So again, from an industry that is run by white Jewish people.
Right. The non-blacks.
Yeah.
Say
okay.
That.
but we have to be wise enough to say, yeah, I get it. And however, there are black Jewish people.
Right.
And that's okay. Just like there are white Muslim people.
Right.
That's okay. That's
shout out to Rylan.
Right. Right. So Oliver says, all groups need to sit and have these tough conversations about how our ancestors got us to this point.
So let's talk about
that.
Right?
Talk about that.
So in the documentary, it talks about how there is this group called the Moors, and you would know them in your history books. They're
I'm familiar with the Moors.
Black intellectuals who ruled Europe for 700 years. For those who don't know, that's almost 2 Americas. But for whatever reason, they've never been in my world history, European history, global history, African American history. The Moors, right? Who had the science, mathematics, calendar, traveled. The rumor is that like one of their sail routes is what Christopher Columbus used to find America, and that's why some of the Native Americans and Africans were already in America when Christopher Columbus got there. Anyway, so it talks about how that's how blacks dispersed and things like that, the slave trade rate. But it also talked about how when this happened, how in the Great Wars, every time a European, a European country won a war, the first thing they did was burn the books. So think about, we're gonna go to war with.
Take down the statues, did they? They burned the books.
They burned the book. But look, we're gonna invade whatever country we're gonna invade. Where's the library? Said no other person ever. Why would you attack the library that has all the documentation of who's lived there, what color they are, how they get? unless you didn't want that known,
Mm-hmm.
unless you wanted that evidence destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You took over. I'm gonna relax. I might party. I might have a drink. Whatever the case may be.
History is written by the victors.
By the victors,
By
right?
the victors.
But to think about, we're going to invade. Where's the public library?
Yep.
Get a pile in the center of the town and burn the books that talk about the heritage and the. So if we don't know where we come from, now we have an outlet that tells us where we come from. And we've talked about this. We don't know about the medieval kings that were African Americans. We don't know about the Moors. The only thing we know, bush people and slaves. Now, what we're seeing is the same group is very intelligent and has helped with a lot of scientific discoveries. But historically, bush people and slaves is the best we can come up with.
Here's the best that I can come up with. And if this doesn't wake people up here in America, it should. If I were to say the king of the jungle, you think of what?
Tarzan. Or the lion. Either way.
The lion.
The lion.
How many lions you seen in a jungle? Lions are out in the desert. Right? Let's be honest. You ever see too many lions in the jungle?
No.
Well, tigers.
Tigers.
Yeah. Panthers. Hey. Right? But so if that doesn't put some things into perspective for most Americans, they're like, yeah, the king of the jungle is a lion. What? No, maybe the desert. Right?
These biblical
Maybe the plains.
These biblical people from Africa are white.
Huh?
Yeah, got it tough.
Okay.
I was joking with Pierre. I was like, that'd be like us saying that the Bible was based in Switzerland. Everyone looked like me and you. He started spitting out.
That's right.
Pierre's.
Right.
I was like, made me upset. Made me upset.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the Nordic. Jesus didn't. Oh, he walked on water because it's frozen.
Because
He's
it's
up north.
frozen,
He's the
right?
white guy.
He's an Eskimo.
Yeah, yeah, Dan has a good point here. He says, after the Suns owner said the N word, someone was able to buy his team from him,
Right.
so he can still make money. But Kyrie can't for 5 games after showing a post. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. Now, again, let's just take a look at the commissioner of the NBA. Who does he look like? Okay. And his name is what? Silver. Could he be Jewish? I don't know. I didn't look it up. If it was Silverbird, maybe. And then Dan says, the state of California was named after an African woman.
Right.
Was her name California?
Is like an Amazonian tribe of black women.
Her name was Julie.
Who ruled like Nevada, Arizona, California, but we don't hear about them either.
Yeah. Dan says the Romans traveled to Africa to get the scribes of the Bible. We didn't spawn here from slavery. All America does is sell us trauma. Well, yes. But again, what's going to get people to tune into my station? What's going to get people to tune into the news? Is it Brett Favre who stole millions, or do we go, yeah, it happens all the time, us white people, we that's Brett Favre, of course, he
just a million,
he was
rookie,
he was probably misled, right? Or all of a sudden. So my question is bless you, my question is what was that? Dude, that's the ghost. Studio ghost probably sneezing.
Somebody sneezed.
So the question is, are we as an America starting to go, you know what? I think the African American people have some good points here, and now we're starting to build that bridge, and so we go, well, let's get the black guy to talk about the juice. Everybody's starting to kumbaya here with the African Americans. Anybody? And as that what we just listened to, a table full of white guys are like, how about juice? Should we get the juice? Let's throw them in this,
because that would be the LGBTQ, Jews, white males, off limits. Can't talk about.
Can't.
Everybody else is fair game.
Everybody else.
This is hateful. And I'm down for zero hate. I have zero room for hate. right?
But again,
let's just be consistent on what hate is.
You're correct.
Is hate omitting history? Is hate telling someone their history is lower than what it is?
Hate is a very strong, powerful word. And hate is the relationship I have with green beans.
Ooh,
I do not like green beans at all. Hate them. Can't eat them.
Lima beans. Yeah.
I'm okay with lima. It's the
Lima?
green and yellow beans, like the string beans and stuff. I hate them.
I feel like it'd be hateful to know that people came from kings and queens and scientists and discoverers and intellectual individuals that were very creative and telling them they're nothing more than bush people and slave. I think that that's hateful.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people feel the same way. And I don't think that would be hateful for if you watched a group of people cheer for you when it was your turn and you find out that I'm actually a kid of a king too. And now you don't like me for it. I think that that's hateful. And I'm not saying the whole Jewish community. I think that like the spin that whoever is trying to put on that, I think that's just a play to keep people down from knowing who they are. I think that's hateful. And I know that doesn't speak for all Jewish people. Because like I said, I work for some fantastic.
No.
So it's not,
we don't want to generalize.
Yeah,
it's one
so
of the
it's
things
not
that
generalization.
we try not to do on the bridge is generalize.
When I say whoever is doing that, I'm not even saying them, but it
Right.
seems like it's perpetuated from numerous channels.
Right.
Let's keep them thinking that all they came from was this. And if they ever start to think, well, the kings, queens, scientists, inventors, philosophers, and all that.
Now, again, I would and I open the doors, and this is really where Phil and I. This is what the bridging civil tension is all about. Is if you're Jewish, come on and talk with us.
Let's talk.
Because I'm not taking it. I didn't take the tweet. I didn't take what Kanye said originally until he started talking about killing. You know what I mean? Mass murdering stuff. He kind of said blow him up or something weird like that. I was like, you might have went too far. So I don't agree with everything. But again, I'm not Jewish.
Right.
So I can't sit here and defend either way.
Right.
One because I'm not black, and one because I'm not Jewish. So I don't know how that feels on both sides. What I can do is tell you from a white guy's perspective, an old white guy's perspective, is I can tell you that I was not offended by what Kyrie posted.
Right.
To me, why can't an individual in life, anywhere in life, and how many other, as we've said, we were okay with this type of hate, but now all of a sudden we're not with this type of hate.
Like if you shared a documentary that says "Not Always Barefoot," the story about how white people are civilized.
Yeah.
Not just Billy Bobs, not just white girls
Yeah.
in the club. I'd be okay. He's showing that white people are intelligent. That's not a hateful thing towards any other demographic. It's just like we're more than just what you painted us as.
Yeah.
So why is it hateful to say, again, we're more than just
Yeah, I
this
mean,
side
what
of
are we
our story?
scared of? I guess white people, and this is a question that I send out to all the white people. I mean, what are we really scared of? Okay, who was I listening to? God dang, it was funny. Dawn Bremer.
Right.
Has
Hi,
she's
Dawn.
Jewish. She's Jewish, right? And she has a great friend.
Would Dawn come on?
Dawn would come on. She would.
Yes.
No, it wasn't Dawn. Anyway, it was somebody who's got a friend that is Aramaic or whatever.
Right.
So from biblical land.
Right.
Who said, listen, this is really funny, and this will probably get this taken off the air. This is just a story. Anyway, it's funny, right? Is they go, listen, they did it right over in the motherland. Is they took the Jews and made them small white people. He says, you Americans did it the wrong way. You brought them over here, you fed them, you made them do hard labor, and now look at them. They're big, massive human beings that are powerful and smart. He says, right. Now this is an Aramaic guy,
right?
And I'm taking some of this out of context because I can't remember the story real well. But he was laughing about it. He's like, so you have to understand, America, you did it wrong. You should have kept them small little white people. Now I laugh at that again. Right. I am neither African American nor Jewish. Right. I find that very funny. Okay, and if you take a look at it, right. So the issue to me, is we have to stop just blowing the bridge up.
Right.
Listen. You have every right to post whatever you want. And I have every right not to follow you. And I have every right that if you put something out there that I disagree with, to delete it. Or to go, that's interesting. Let me pick up the phone and call Phil. So again, we go back to now, hey, got a friend request. Yeah, I want 3,000 friends on social media. I don't know anything about 2,000 of them.
Right.
But they're my friend. And now I get in a battle because of what you put. Listen, again, growing up, we're side by side. We grow up, right? And there's hate is learned.
Right.
Hate is a learned thing.
Right.
It's not in your DNA. We could probably go down that rabbit hole too if we wanted to. But bottom line is that I work side by side by Phil. And if I got an issue with something Phil says, I may go, hey, Phil, come in.
All right, let's talk.
I'm not going to go, hey, was in a meeting, grab my phone, was in a meeting with an unnamed black guy who said.
Call him an idiot.
Right? That's not how the real world works, but that's how a lot of us want to get captured into it, which is not good.
So I got two quick points to make. One, there's a statement that said, I was having a conversation like, well, Kyrie is so arrogant. Like he said a statement of, how can I be anti-Semitic if I know where I'm from? And if you look up the dictionary, it says relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, certain ancient languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, consulting with the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family. So what he's saying is, I'm not going to be hateful for something that I am. If I identify as Hebrew, I don't hate Hebrews. So for those of you who don't know that part, Kyrie isn't saying that he's above them or he's not apologizing. He's like, I can't hate them if I am them. Right. That's the first part I wanted to make. Second part, my favorite comedian. We were talking about the top title of the show possibly being Crazy Black People. What I wanted you guys to see is like, there's times where people are called crazy, and whether that's Hollywood stars or athletes, and we find out years later that they were right the entire time, right? There was a comedian who was called crazy. We got told that he went to Africa, and it came out that it was right, that they was getting bamboozled out of millions of dollars of his deal. In this situation, we're being told that Kyrie is crazy just because he believes that blacks are more than just Bush people. We want to get to the point sometimes where you hear certain statements, whether it's about a politician or a friend or anyone. Mm-hmm. And just because you hear it, do your research first.
Please.
I pat myself on the back that when I heard it, I was like, I don't have an opinion until I watch the documentary.
Correct. I say that all the time.
Because, and I'm asking these people, you hate him. Okay, cool. He's an idiot. Okay, cool. But did you watch the documentary? Well, no. So then how do you know that he said something hateful?
Right.
If you haven't seen what it is.
And that's why I put out there, I'm like, why aren't we talking about this? All the money that he's given for the good. Right. For every color. For
the things that we do know, we don't talk about. The things that we're told to think, we're gun ho about.
Yeah, we jump in.
Why are we so quick to say he's an idiot, he's hateful, we haven't done any research? If I'm not allowed to hate a politician until I do my research, please don't be so quick to, like you said, crucify an individual unless you've seen, hey, what did he say?
So Dan says, imagine owning all the rap labels and watching black men get killed and go to jail. But we're mad at Kyrie for sharing something intellectual so we can promote what seems to be destructive to people, but Kyrie can't be intellectual. Right. And with that, though, the one good thing is this. I'm going to play this because this is a really good way to leave it. But now I think a lot of people are starting to realize it and go, you know what? I'm tired. It's time to do something instead of sit and be quiet. Right. So let's cue this up here.
Regardless of what color, what creed, what race you are, look at people as human beings. I think that's important. But life is always about taking a stand and holding principles. So I want to explain what I feel like my stance is as a black male in this world, okay? And conversations that I've had with my brothers and sisters in the black community. And I want you guys to empathize with it and hear me on it. So when I hear what Kyrie Irving has to go through in order to be reinstated. I'm appalled. I'm appalled. And let me give you examples of how I feel like we don't have the same energy and hold other people who have dealt with racial tropes accountable. So when Sarah Silverman does blackface, or when Don Imus says nappy-headed hose, or when Howard Stern calls somebody the N-word in the skit, or when Brett Favre takes money from the state of Mississippi, we don't ask them to get sensitivity training. We don't ask them to donate $500,000. We don't ask them to meet with the Black National Caucus. They apologize. And then, you know what? The rest of the world moves on. But what I feel like is happening here, and that's how in the Black community, like we've been told that's how the process works, right? Think about that, Bert. That's how the process works. Oh, somebody does a blackface. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. We got it. Okay. You know, is that person really racist? Probably not. Was it ignorant? Probably so. Okay. We understand it. We move forward. We don't like it. We would love to hold them accountable. But society and having a lot of Black people in positions of power, we don't have the governability to do that. But what we feel like happens with Kyrie is even after an apology, it's not enough. We feel like there needs to be more. And a lot of people I've spoken to over the last couple of days talk about this thing. Older mentors of mine talk about buck breaking. And so we talk about tropes. This is something that we feel like in the Black community that happened way back in the day, where if there was a slave that was defiant, right, he got broken in front of everybody in order to show that he was not in a position of power. And that at the end of the day, he had to do what he was told to do because that's what was mandated of him. And there's a bigger situation going on. What's happening with Kyrie Irving? If the Nets don't want him to be there, just say you don't want him to be there. But we should hold everybody accountable, even owners of teams accountable with things that are happening in other countries, i.e. China and Uyghurs and the Muslim genocide that is occurring that we hear Enes Kanter talk about. But we don't keep the same energy for everybody. We pick and choose what conversational points we want to make more polarizing.
Thank you.
And I might lose my job. I might lose deal opportunities in the future for speaking out about even the platforms that continue to promote and profit a movie that is considered anti-Semitic to billions of people. They don't have to be accountable. Who is accountable? But we're going to put everything on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving, who, even though he said, I cannot be anti-Semitic because if I know where I came from, stating that he's one of the 4 lost tribes. He's saying that Blacks and Jews come from the same entity, the same thing. But we don't want to understand nuance. We want to be triggered by words, and we like fire, and we like things that are, you know, going viral on social media, and everybody has some kind of hot take, and we're calling people idiots, and we're calling people names because that's what we do. We just destroy each other. I ain't gonna destroy each other, man. I'm not gonna do that. Is Kyrie Irving anti-Semitic? Hell no. Could he have gone about it maybe a different way? That's what I would have advised him to do. But I'm not gonna let you guys sit out here and make this dude out to be like he is a villain, like he is a bad person. He is looking to explore his heritage. Now you can crucify me if you want. I don't give a damn anymore. It's time for people to start speaking out with nuance and speaking out on the principles they stand for. That's all I'll say.
Boom. Done. And with that, our time's up.
Man, love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you as always.
Good stuff.
One of the greats. Love y'all.